Welcome to the Cutting Edge Convention, a worldwide movement to revolutionize your life. No more stumbling around in the dark, wasting precious weeks, months, and years trying to figure it out on your own. Get ready for valuable innovations and strategies. And now, here's your host, Marcy Peters, the Age Backward Mentor.
Hello, and welcome back to the Cutting Edge Conventions, innovations to revolutionize your life. I'm your host, Marcy Peters, the Age Backward Mentor. I help smart, successful men and women just like you step into a life they love and a body they love being in, so that you don't have to traditionally age. You can age backward. Today, I want to introduce you to someone very inspirational, and you're going to want to stay tuned for the entire thing because we're going to be talking about how to grow your business, how to have a business or have a passion that you're really into, and how you can rewrite your story to create that for yourself. And this is entirely possible. So let me tell you about Danelle Delgado. Danelle was a single mom of 3 children. She was working 3 jobs and struggling to survive, and she rewrote her story to become an award-winning success. Her company, Life Intended, trains aspiring entrepreneurs all over the world. She shares the stage with giants and trains people around the world. She's turned her elite business strategy trainings into an international explosion of excellence and profit. Danelle, welcome.
Hi, I am incredibly excited to be here. You have done amazing things. Your audience is remarkable, and to get a chance to share with them and you, man, it couldn't be any better day. That's what I'm thinking.
Yay! I'm thrilled to be here with you too. Great energy. So my dear, could you tell us first about your story, how all of this came to being?
Absolutely. I think, what most people miss is that their true wealth, their true success factor comes from their story. All the things that happened unaligned typically do for a reason. They're either teaching you, growing you, or exposing a place where you need to grow. And that's what happened to me. I was the kid who didn't struggle very much. I lived an average life until life happens. And I lost everything. I had 3 little kids. I lost a marriage that never really struggled. I lost my health. I lost all of these things right in a row. And I was sitting in a position where I got to choose. I got to choose if I was going to let that story take me out or if I was going to do something different. So I literally went from middle school teacher, like middle school science teacher. I could teach you about rocks and volcanoes and things that would never really matter in advancing your life, but I have a mind full of random facts. And I was sitting there teaching, I was working with youth, and I couldn't provide for my kids. 3 little kids. I had a 3-year-old and 2-year-old twins, and was on my own going, this is never going to do it. What am I going to do? I literally started in an apartment that friends rented for me. I was in a bad situation, and I had 30 days to figure out how to pay for it. No furniture. I got a tent. That was the cheapest thing. I thought my kids would think we're camping in the living room. How fun is this? I never wanted to remember the trauma, And so in that apartment, I sat down and I said, something's got to change. I was given a book, and Think and Grow Rich. You may have heard of it.
Yeah.
Kind of largely known back. And I was kind of like, yeah, right. A thought is a thing. I was like, really? I thought myself here? Is that what happened? And I was in that pity, that self-doubt, that all of that work and all those people that I'd served my whole life, was this really worth it? And I went down a spiral for a few. And then I looked at my little kids and I said, I'm never going to look in their eyes and be like, I'm sorry, you weren't worth it today. I'm going to get up and I'm going to change my story. And so I started reading books. I was introduced to business. I was introduced to the network marketing world. I was introduced to small business, corporate. I looked at all of these things, but all I knew is that when I read those books about entrepreneurship and Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and all of those things, the science of getting rich, and I started unfolding this journey, I said, those things seem right, and everything that everybody told me seems wrong, And so I just took a leap. And so I started in sales, and I started selling, product. I was introduced to network marketing. I was actually adamantly opposed to that industry. I was like, not happening, just I was uneducated. But I was taught by some very, very big people. So what I did is I went to the biggest people in every industry that I loved. I started asking questions, being friends, serving them as much as I could with what they were looking for. If they needed something, I would go find it and figure it out so that they would mentor me. In a very short amount of time, I realized that I had developed the skill of sales. I had developed a skill of people, that above anything, I simply would only sell to people who I could serve. And then I wanted to teach people what I knew. I saw these people in sales struggling. Like, why can't I get a sale? I can't close. I need all these tactics and skills. And I'm like, no, first of all, we have to get your foundation right. Right. So I just developed a pattern, and in 2.5 years, I created a multi-million-dollar company and was training with, Les Brown, Darren Hardy, Grant Cardone, all of these massive names. And I was literally looking at how did I get here? I have no idea. So I backtracked and I went to all of my journals and I wrote down those things that I did, and I created an online platform and started training and started seeing it make massive results in moms. That's where I started. Moms, let's help moms around the world who want to provide for their kids, yet be there for their kids, right? And not miss things. So literally that's kind of how the story transpired. And it was about where most people, they wonder and they doubt, what am I going to create? What can I do? I simply said, I'm going to do something and I'm going to figure it out. It's about the next right step, and just knowing that. All those people who are big visionaries, I'm going to be a multi-millionaire. I couldn't even think that. I was like, my brain wasn't even there yet. But I truly believe when you can get your foundation right, your mind right, mindset's the number one key to success, right? You can conquer anything. So that was the first part of the story, a fast part. Throughout that journey, I had a mind crashing system. I built up my first couple of businesses. I was like, I finally made it, right? Have we ever had those times where we're like, oh, this is the pinnacle of it all? And it all came crashing down. I got told I had thyroid cancer, and I had to go through radiation and all different kinds of treatments, and struggled and was like, oh. And so I literally took a year off and went through all of those kinds of things and medications and treatments, and rediscovered my life. And that's when I created Life Intended, the company that you talked about just now. And I said it's about intending every step in advance, where you not only take care of your business and your family, but yourself. I had missed that part in the first big run. You know a lot about that, right? Us entrepreneurs are very driven and very focused, but we forget about our own health and that we can't care for anyone. So that's kind of how the story unfolded, the quick picture.
Okay, Danelle, thank you so much for sharing that. That's an amazing story. And basically, so you had the motivation, you had, your kids, like you said, you wanted to make sure you were providing for them. And you went from, teaching school to having this multi-million-dollar business. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's do it for everybody. Let's do it for everyone. Then I'll be happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's spread it around. So there's enough for everyone, for sure. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned foundations. Let's talk more about what are those foundational pieces.
Perfect. What I really look for in people I work with, because I have a lot of people who want to work with me, who want to dive in, who want to create something. But the biggest piece that they struggle with, be it men or women, is knowing their value, is understanding that they are a valuable commodity, and that is the number one thing to creating success. A lot of people think that they can go earn their success, right? That success is conditional upon just achieving, and success is conditional upon the inside. If you don't personally know your value, the world's never going to reward you for it. And I think that's where most people struggle. They don't stop and take a look at the assets that they have. They either undermine them or they compare themselves to everybody else. Mm-hmm. And I always say comparison's the thief of joy. You want to feel bad about yourself, just go look at your neighbor. right? Like that's a terrible platform, but they've been taught the whole time, grow up, follow in this plan, follow this. And if they ever go off of that, they have this immediate either fear or doubt or guilt that happens. Those three things seem to be the trigger points in people's foundation. Mm-hmm. But there's one problem that solves them all, and that's taking action, right? If you're afraid of doing something different, but you know that you have something different in you, great, take action a little bit every single day. If you are doubtful that you could do it, well, great, become the one who gets the knowledge, who can do it no matter what. Like, take action and learn. That was me. I literally had zero business experience, like zero. Like, I could teach you about volcanoes. I could not tell you about how to sell something or anything, right? And if you're feeling guilty about something, maybe you don't want to leave your kids, or you work too hard over here, so you're afraid of risking your family business or your finances to go do something big. If you're having guilt, take action, right? Mm-hmm. Gain the knowledge, take action. The guilt goes away, the fear goes away, the doubt goes away. And I believe that there really are two practices that build your foundation. Two solid things that I did. And somebody gave me the first one, and I was like, you have to be kidding me. So the day that I found out I had cancer, one of my friends, Corey, he literally took me to Barnes & Noble, and he goes, pick out a journal. And I was like, I was not in the mood, number one. Number two, I was like, fine. And I just grabbed this leather journal that was right there. I didn't even pick anything. And he sat down right like on one of the tables at Barnes & Noble, and he wrote in it. And he said, I want you to write down 10 things you're grateful for every single day, and 3 goals every single day. And I was like, and I grabbed it and I read it, and I was like, I don't really feel grateful today. Like, I just spent the last, 5 years building up my life again, taking care of my children, and I'm going to lose it all. Like, I can't even stay standing. I can't think. I'm, having hot flashes at 30 years old. What's going on? Everything was crashing. And he goes, I want you to write down 10 things every single day and 3 goals every single day. And 4 months from now, we can talk about it. Until then, you're not allowed to complain. And I was like, okay. Like, I was kind of like, excuse me, I have cancer. I need to vent, And he was like, I'm not having it. And you need to write down your gratitude things. So I literally started it. 4 months later, we had a conversation about it. And I literally only told 5 people that I had cancer. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't want people going, oh, do you need soup? How can we take care of you? I just wanted to create something. I just wanted to survive. I just wanted to stay positive, right? Positive people are irresistible, right? That's why I like you so much. Like, immediately, I was like, yes, my energy's great. Those people, you don't want to leave, right? Absolutely. So that gratitude journal changed my mindset about cancer, about business, about money. So I started doing that. 1 year later, I launched Life Intended. I actually just released on Amazon my own version of the gratitude journal called I Choose Joy, that no matter what storm you go through. So it's 10 gratitudes a day. It's 3 goals every day. And the one thing that you've learned that you're going to implement that day. So the first thing is gratitude, right? That'll rock solid your foundation. It'll change everything. A rocky marriage, a broken business. I'm telling you, it's the key to everything. I'm sure you know that already, right? And the second thing is personal and business development every single day, right? If you spend 1 hour a day growing your mind, life changes. New doors open. You can't help but fall into opportunity. I mean, it just shows up. I always say, the stars don't align for those who dabble. And it's the people who aren't consistent with growth that get frustrated, that are not grateful, that struggle winning. People say, if you really know the whole story, they're like, man, you just had adversity after adversity. And I go, yeah, but adversity visits the strong, but it stays with the weak, right? If you're weak and you're not growing your mind and your foundation, you're going to feel like you're being beat up and run through a ringer every single day of life. If you grow your brain and your mind and you're reading books, I mean, it's 1 click away on Audible or Google. Everybody brushes their teeth and takes a shower every day, I hope, right? And in that time, you could read a book a week. You could read a book a month, just depending on what you listen to. And Audible became my best friend, and that gratitude journal made me forget any weakness that I had. It made me forget any negativity. It made me forget anything except take action. So literally, I tell people the magic bullet is reading the 10X Rule and Relentless by Tim Grover and Grant Cardone. If you read those two together at the same time, I birthed the business. It was just the explosive thing. And talk about opportunity, right? I just got to speak with Grant Cardone. I wrote down in my journal that I wanted to meet Tim Grover one day, the author of Relentless. I said that I wanted to have lunch with him. I was at 10X sitting down in the VIP room, and guess who sat down to have lunch with me?
Aww.
Right? So, and literally, you know, I see so many people struggle with their mindset and their value. And I'll tell you what, you'll never know your value until you learn gratitude, and you'll never be able to get paid for it until you understand, like, when you live your best and you're serving other people with it, like, no matter what it is. I don't care if you work at 7-Eleven or if you're, you know, a multimillionaire. When you learn to take whatever gifts you were given and use them every day for somebody else's benefit, that's when life gets big. That's when opportunity happens. That's when money happens. But I literally, I was told, right, here's the crazy thing. I was told to my face, you know, Danelle, do you think you're going to be wealthy? And I was like, yes. Right. And he was like, what are the odds that you think you're going to be wealthy? And he was a very, very wealthy man, you know, but he had spoken into my life. He's like, what are the odds? I was like, you know, and he goes, well, the odds are 0.00016% that you will be wealthy. And I was like, And he said, and if the odds of being wealthy put you off, you deserve to be poor. And I was like, wow. And I said, well, really, when you said like there's 0.00016%, I was more like Jim Carrey going, so you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
There's a chance. And really, wealth is different for everybody, right? For me, it wasn't about becoming wealthy. It wasn't at all. It was about providing a life for my kids, but bigger than that, I wanted to make an impact in the world. I wanted to make sure my life mattered. I wanted to give, I wanted to serve. And I think the moment that you understand you playing small any day of your life is selfish, that you're actually hurting the people that you were born to impact, is the day that your whole life changes. And that's what happened. I had cancer at a young age, and I went, what if I don't have time to teach my kids the legacy? What if I don't show them how to play big? I'm not playing big. I'm dabbling. I'm just playing with my life. And I just made a decision. And I made a decision to do gratitude every single day, to read a book all the time, to make sure that I learned how to handle money so that when I made it, I would know what to do with it, right? So it's just making a decision to know that your life is worth it. We don't always figure it out, but you know, we don't figure it out quick sometimes. The journey is different for everybody, but I think when I finally realized that my life could be valuable, I was in a hurry to learn how to make it pay, right? So building that foundation is pinnacle to anybody having success, because I've seen some people rise up without a foundation, but then they lose it, right? They fall right out of it. And so if you want to create something great and you want to keep it, you have to start with your foundation and who you are. Write down 10 things every day that you love about yourself. Quit talking negative about yourself. If you say something, replace it with something good. I mean, it's a retraining of bad habits is what it is. Right, mindset.
Yeah. It's all about mindset. And that was the first thing you mentioned, is that you started reading books and you were actually shifting things and creating new neural pathways in your mind that allow you to have new opportunities and new possibilities in your life.
Absolutely. That's where it all begins. And you know what's funny? I went through 5 years of college. I was on the bonus plan, and I never fully finished a book. Like, I wasn't a reader. So don't think I'm not a reader and think you get left out of this. I was never a reader till I was 29 years old. That was the first year I actually picked up a personal development book and read it. 29. Isn't that crazy?
And nowadays you can listen to them and you can watch stuff like this. And so reading is still important, but there's, different ways to achieve that depending on if you're more of a visual learner or an audio learner and so forth.
Yes. Audible is actually where I started. Listening to audio, listening to podcasts, listening to online conferences like this. That's why when you talked to me, I was like, I'm in, whatever you need. Yes, this is where I started, right?
Yeah.
I was just hungry for the right information, and people like you who put amazing people on one platform for people to learn from. There's nothing that can measure that. Like, it's worth any price. It's hands down the only secret to getting out, right?
Yeah. Learning. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of my clients actually just absorb all of these conferences and, one after the next, and they're just learning. And now after coaching with me, they're on their way to become coaches and mentors themselves. And so
that's amazing.
That's
the next step, right? You have to have, I will tell you, like, whatever you do, my friends, pay for mentorship, pay for it. Do not take free advice, because you're putting your future in someone else's spare time. That's what free advice is, spare time, right? You also won't do it if you don't pay for it.
Yes.
Right? I'm like, when I realized that me giving free advice was like hurting people, I stopped. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't answer that. Like, give me your credit card. Right?
Yeah.
But for you, like, they can't implement unless you have someone running with you and being a sounding board that teaches you how to reframe your brain, your action steps. You're exactly right. Like, everyone should be working with you and going, I don't just want to know, I want to do. Right? That's one of the most famous authors, I can't remember who it is at this moment, but said the step from knowing to doing is rarely taken. And the knowing is the first part, and the doing is the most important. And working with a mentor, right? I was just with Damon John, and he said, life is a series of mentors. It's what it is. And you get what you pay for. Am I right?
Yeah, and you put into it what you pay for too, because if you're paying more, how much more are you going to put into it? A lot more.
You go hustle, right? It's
you do
amazing.
Whatever it takes.
Yep. Nobody I've ever let in, like, I have a couple like scholarships or things that I'll give. I'm sure you do too. Like, if you tell me if you're right, like, anybody I've let in for free has never done it.
Right.
Never.
Yeah. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't happen, because they have no skin in the game. They don't have to. But the higher dollar, like, massive results happen. I know I put every day my hat into somebody big teaching me. I was scared to death. It was literally like food off the table for my kids. And I was like, but if I don't do something different, I'm going to stay right here.
Yeah.
Forever. And that was more scary than going, hey, we're going to have ramen noodles for the week.
Right. And then nothing changes and you have this horrible stuck feeling. To me, that stuck feeling, that feeling of not moving forward, is like the worst feeling in life. It doesn't get any worse.
It's dangerous, right? Yeah. It's dangerous because it's destructive every day, staying in the same place. Comfort's the most destructive thing people could ever have. And right, it's the average thing. I always tell people, I'm like, your worst nightmare is aiming for average, right? I just want to be average. Right? That's where people die from the inside out. And so taking these little tips that you get from this, that you get from working with one and implementing them, like, it's consistency of doing the habits, of creating those habits that changes everything. I always say, if something's worth doing, it's worth doing every single day. Yes. Every day, or why do it? If it, sometimes is a ticket to mediocrity, right? If you do something sometimes, you're going to get results sometimes. If you do.
And trying is also part of that too.
Is leaving failure an option, right? I'm going to try. Oh, you already quit? You did? Right? That's what I say to people. It's true. But how often as a coach do you hear it? I'm going to try.
Constantly.
I'm going to try. I'm like, ouch, it makes me itchy. Stop using that word. No, I'm going to do it. Right? I knew my mentor wouldn't work with me anymore if I said I'm going to try. Like, I was like, yes. That was the only thing that I was allowed to say. I was never allowed to tell him, I know. He would never let me say, I know. He was like, no, you don't, or you would have done. Right? I was like,
I've had mentors like that too. Yeah.
mhm.
They're just not having it. It's like, no, this is happening and you're going to take part in it or else I'm not going to be your mentor.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful, right?
Yeah.
I had ideas. One of my biggest ideas, I was convinced that I was going to like put on like Tony Robbins events, you know, and have thousands of people there. And my first event, I had like 100 people and I felt like I died on the inside. Like it was so hard, right? I was like, oh my gosh. And I used every dime and I was like, I'm just going to train people. I'm going to give them the right answers. And I was like, this is horrible. This was a horrible idea. What am I doing? Right? That's what you feel. And one of my mentors was like, well, if you do it that way, you're going to go broke. And I was like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to prove it to you. And I was like, wait, why didn't I listen to the mentor who's done it before me and made a lot more money? And so it was really humbling to see my dream kind of transition and how he transitioned me and moved that. Like that was the best money I ever spent, or I would have spent years just guessing, right? Just putting, you know, my life on a guessing game. It's using like mentorship is using someone's hindsight as your foresight. It's the best money I've ever spent in my life. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like hopping into a time machine and saving, you know, weeks, months, and years.
It is. You watch people struggle to like pay for it. Like, ooh, I don't know. And I just watch and I'm like, well, when you're ready.
Yeah. When your vision is big enough, you'll find a way to create that vision.
Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned humility, Danelle, and you know, humility is like something that comes up again and again as an entrepreneur. It's one of our biggest teaching lessons. So yeah, I mean, there's many points along this journey, and being an entrepreneur, you know, as you know, is like the biggest personal growth lesson you can ever have, or a business owner or something where all of your skin is in the game.
You're leading.
Yeah.
It is. It's, you know, and it's hard too, right? For any of those speakers out there or anything, because you're introduced as something all the time, right? And usually it's a nice introduction. You're like, oh, stop it. Go ahead. Stop it. Right? Like we hear that all the time. And one of my mentors always used to say, like, he was like, hear it, never believe it. Like, go become the one, right? My whole mission and everything I do is about helping people become the one their results require. They have these results that they want, right? But the only way they're ever going to get them is by serving, right? Is by serving people. I think that's what keeps the right entrepreneurs humble and hustling, right? If I don't show up big today, somebody's going to get hurt. Right? Somebody's not going to have the lesson I was going to teach. If I don't show up on video on Facebook, which everybody's like afraid of, I'm like, are you kidding? Do it right now. Go live. Right? That's where I was found, right? From my couch. So, you know, it's not like rocket science. It's like show up and become the one who could do it. But I only could do it. I only had success when I found a need and wanted to meet the need for people, and I was serving people. And that's where the people at the top who were really at the top, just like you, like humble to their core, just want to serve. How can we collaborate together to create wealth for more people? We want to change this world. Let's elevate those who are willing to do. It's the greatest group of human beings I've ever met in my entire life. Right?
Yeah, I found that to be true as well. And yeah, it's an amazing experience. And all these conceptions that, you know, people might have had, or I used to have, about wealthy, rich people are for the most part not true, you know, when you're dealing with a certain caliber. So
100%, right? It used to be, oh, look at their cars, look at their homes, must be nice, right? Everybody had those opinions. And I think, I mean, wealth and generosity come hand in hand from what I've learned from the best, that they're the most generous people I've ever met. And, you know, it's interesting. The only reason we thought that before we had money was because we didn't know, right? Yeah. It's either, right? Everything's lack of knowledge. It's getting educated. And when you educate yourself, I mean, walk with giants, you get to become one. That's the goal. Right?
Yeah. And so going back to mindset, it's about these stories we create, stories that are assumptions and interpretations and perceptions that aren't necessarily true, but we assume they're true. We take them on as truth. But they're just stories that we're creating about, things that we basically don't know about or haven't experienced yet.
That's right. And that's the whole goal. I think for me I was just determined to prove my bad thoughts wrong. Right. A lot of people are stopped because it's usually the people closest to them who are trying to protect them, who tell them, oh, don't do, I don't know if this is right for you. Careful. Don't invest that, because they don't want to be hurt. And some people tell the story, it's crabs in a bucket, right? People don't want to see you win because it'll make them feel bad about themselves. I really don't think it's that. I think most people, they just fear the unknown.
Yeah.
And that was my thing, is I was so afraid that those people who were close to me were right, that I wasn't really meant for more, that I was just like, surely my life is not a waste. Like, surely not. I just want to prove them wrong. But then it moved from proving people wrong to proving myself right, that I knew I was more. And then it became about how hard would I have to work to show them that this was meant for them, right? Not about what they thought about me. There's more in them that they could go create. Then it kind of became a game. Right. And they always say hustle so hard to your haters to ask if you're hiring. Right. The whole idea is to leave people better than you found them, and make them, when they're around you, make them experience their own more. Like, I always try to go, if somebody's hanging out with me or spending time with me, I want them to not be allowed to play small. I want them to never be able to go backwards and be like, oh, my life doesn't matter. And there's people all over the world who are just told something and they listen to it more than their own gut. But the truth is, everyone here has a gift, and I don't have it. You don't have it. They have it. And it's up to them to run for mastery, So foundationally, it starts with mindset. It starts with those habits. Then once you know that value, I think the next stop becomes monetizing that value. Right? If you really know it, if you really believe it, then you develop something that you could get paid for it. If you don't believe it, you won't ever be able to ask for the cash, right? You won't ever be able to be paid for it. And then once you know that, it's really easy to market it. In this day and age, social media saves all of our lives, right? That's how we're all over the world. And it's your life's really a window at this point. You're Googleable, you're accessible. People can see your life and know the results, right? Everything's there. And so it's about showing up every day and that consistency. And you can market that anywhere, because it's a world of people who are hungry for more right now. Don't you think?
Yes.
Like, I think more than any time in the world, people are hungry for being great right now.
I think they're hungry for authenticity, for like, who is that real person, not just, what they think they see, but like who, are these people who I'm looking up to and inspired by, and who are they really when the camera isn't on? And so having, that authenticity, that consistency showing up, no matter what you're doing, if you're out running errands or walking your dog or whatever.
Absolutely. It's twofold. It goes from that. It's authenticity, number one. Like, you can't fake it anymore. Everything's live, right? Like, it is the deal. So authenticity and connectivity, right? I think when people really stop running in this world and just want things to come to them, and they start connecting, literally that's where I created everything. That's what it is, right? You're not kept poor. You're not kept hungry and starving by lack of opportunity. It's lack of connectivity, right? Are you really connecting to people? Are you serving them well? Yeah. If so, opportunities abound. People are still shocked. Like, you still answer Facebook messages? I'm like, yes, that's where my audience is. It's the world, right? Those kinds of things, taking the time to really connect. If we don't know our audience, how could we really serve them? And so think about that as far as everybody's clients. If you don't know your clients, how could you serve them? And if they don't know you, how will they trust you? Those are, authenticity and connectivity, I think, is what is allowing people to rise in a very big world in a short amount of time.
Yes, absolutely. And then, like you talked about, taking action, doing things that scare you, that will move you forward, that will give you confidence, because now, you accomplished it, even if it wasn't, as good as you could have. You can keep trying and keep getting better, but you did it.
Yes. I think we have to all transform ourselves into those people who taking action is our new normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to become the person. It's the whole Mel Robbins thing. If you haven't heard that, the 5-second rule, right? We literally scientifically in our brains have 5 seconds to take action, or our brain pulls the emergency brake. Right? So should we do it? Should I talk to that person in the coffee shop? Should I do this? And it's like, I'm feeling the nerves. And you have to force yourself. So this is what I do, right? All I did was I go, okay, I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3, go. Because I know if I wait till 5, the chances of me moving are not good. So I have to do it at 3. It was literally, I was more afraid of staying in the same place than I was of screwing up and falling on my face. I think, there's 2 things that make people change. This is what I've seen and what I've studied, a little bit of psychology, right? If people either change by massive emotional trauma, something that forces them to change. Me, it was massive emotional trauma. I had to wait for the frying pan to the face till I took care of my health, and I started taking action on my life. I lost my family. That was trauma. It forced me to change. But the other way you can do it, which is the way I would suggest, is by habit. Creating habits over time. I do things like 90-day runs with people. 30 days means you're serious with a new habit. 60 days means you're implementing. 90 days means you can make it permanent. And that's the goal, is to make taking action your permanent habit. And if you're not taking action, or you're afraid of taking action, you're lacking knowledge. So let's get you studied up. It goes back to your foundation, right? Read the books, grow your mindset, do your gratitude. And it's amazing when you think big, it attracts the people who help you get the job done. So then you're surrounded by a tribe of people helping you take action, helping you rise, and you're not alone in that. So it becomes easier. They're like, oh no, you told us your goal. You better go do it. Right? So, it's a whole process, but the more you get your mind ready, it's going to be ready to meet other minds who want to go to the same place. And when you have more minds, you can start taking action. But I tell people, get rid of your emergency brake. Your emergency brake has kept you small your whole life. Let's throw it out of the car. You don't even need it. Your job is to be this machine who knows and does every single day, so that other people can be impacted and any business, any job, any day you wake up, I think it's your responsibility to live that big. I work with all these men and women, and they're like, yeah, but my business is so great, but my family's being sacrificed because I'm working all these hours. And I'm like, hey, listen. And they expect me to be excited about their big wins. I'm like, your wife is leaving. I'm not excited about that. Let me just tell you, do you treat your wife, do you treat your husband like your highest paying client? There's those things. I learned that because I got divorced, remember? And I know the things I did wrong. And I'll go, listen, nothing's more important than those foundational elements. So it's about the excellence in all of those areas. I think that growing up, people give you these expectations of who's supposed to do what, and, you can't have it all. So get these things right and do this. And I go, well, that's just a ridiculous thing. You have this life so you can do it all. So you can treat your family well and spend time for them. You can be a hustler and amazing in business. I see all these people give excuses. I'm like, I have 3 kids. I'm a mom by myself who does all this and runs all these businesses, and I don't miss a thing that they do. I volunteer every Monday at their school. Who told you that can't happen? That's something you told yourself, that, you don't have enough time. That you don't have enough time to do all those things. You absolutely have enough time to do all those things, and your life will be so amazing when you put them all in place.
It's another story, like what we were talking about before.
Yep. Rewriting that story. And the only way to do it is to not dabble, right? Today, from this day forward, I'm committing to growing. I'm committing to gratitude. I'm committing to become the one those results that I'm dying to create require.
Yeah.
And that requires every day.
And after 90 days of consistency, guess what happens? it starts getting easy. It starts becoming like brushing your teeth, which, you know, you don't have to
It's natural.
Yeah, it just happens. It's in flow. And so that's a beautiful thing. If you can get through at least 90 days consistently, then it gets easy.
Yes. I literally just spoke with, like, for 3 days with all these giants. You know how many of them talked about the 90-day run? Almost all of them. They said they just set a goal for 90 days because in our brain, we could do anything for 90 days, right? You could work out for 90 days. You could juice for 90 days. You could run every day for 90 days. But when you think about, I'm going to do that for a lifetime, it's exhausting, right? Yeah. Nobody's like, ugh. So that's what I told people. They're like, how did you do this in 2.5 years? How did you create all this from nothing? And I'm like, I did 2.5 years of 90-day runs. That's it. I focused 90 days at a time. And I set new goals and new things. And every single time I was like, there's no way I could create that. Right. Literally Grant Cardone blasted me on a huge, like on his platform and put it all over the place. And he's like, he said, what's your goal? I go, well, I want to help this one become another 6-figure business. And he's like, you've already done that 3 times. Like, you need to prove it again. I don't understand the goal. And I was like, oh, well, what should the goal be? And, you know, his whole thing is 10X. And he's like, well, you should figure out how to make 6 figures in a weekend. And I was like, oh, what? Like, no, the goal is to create a 6-figure business in a year like I've done before. He's like, you've already done that. Why would you prove that again? That's ridiculous. So literally 4 months later, I created a path to do it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then my brain broke through this level. I'm like, well, I could do this in a day. And then I had these days where I was breaking those in a day. And I was like, oh my gosh. But the cool thing is I was teaching other people how to do it. They're like, I just had my first 6-figure weekend. And I just, right? And you go, oh my gosh, I was thinking so small. But every 90-day pattern breaks you through to a new level of belief. When, you know, a few years ago, like really 5-6 years ago, I was still like watching TV and crying and looking at my kids going, what are we going to do? It really changes really, really fast when you commit 90 days to change every habit. Like I tell people, I'm like, if you have products to sell, stack them in front of your TV and you can't watch it until they're all gone. Like, get rid of that thing, get rid of the distractions. It's not only what are you going to do habit-wise the next 90 days, it's what are you going to give up, right? What are you going to sacrifice? What are you going to let go of? What negative energy or person or experience or thought or personal belief do you have so that you can focus over the next 90 days and create something that could shock even you? Like, literally, I'm still shocked. Every day, I'm like, wow. I woke up this morning and had a massive message and they're like, hey, we just need to have an address where to send this check. And I was like, that's a good way to wake up. Here's my address. You know, those kinds of things are still shocking, but I'm in the middle of another 90-day run that's exploding. Right? Did you run 90-day runs too? Is that a mental...
Yeah. So, but at first I actually started smaller. I took it in 1 week and then that would extend to 2 weeks and then it would be 6 weeks. And so when I work with clients on nutrition, a lot of times I do start with a 4-week type of modification, and I never call them diets because our intention is that it's going to be for the whole, you know, lifestyle. It's going to be for forever, right. But you don't start that way because again, your mind can't think that big. It's so overwhelming. And so even if it's a 7-day or a 10-day or something like that, and then you just keep adding on, and eventually what happens is people start realizing my life is better and I want this better life. And so, and that's when it becomes easier and easier because they're getting results. And
yes, they tasted it. That's brilliant with nutrition. That's the hardest one to get people to live because they literally live those bad habits every single day their whole life. I know personally, like, you know,
we've all done it. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what you have to do. You have to get your brain in this position that I can do this portion. Then you see the results and you keep going, right? Like we consistently do what brings us happiness, joy, comfort. Like, it feels good. We evade and run away from things that cause us pain. So if people say diet or anything, they're like, die, right? You know, like, no. Then you say, listen, let's try this nutrition plan for 4 weeks. 4 weeks later, they have energy, they're sleeping, they feel good at work.
Yeah.
They're like, gosh, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Right? So
I
same
see
thing.
it again and again
Yeah.
and again. And it
life.
absolutely
Results
works, and
change
it's
you.
foolproof as long as you just do it.
Totally. Exactly. That's the thing. Fix your habits change your life.
Yes. Yeah. And then you're a different person, but you're your best version of yourself. You're not trying to be someone else, but the best version of yourself can naturally just come out and be seen by everyone.
Yes. And once you find it, you can never revert, right?
Never.
You cannot go backwards.
You wouldn't want to.
You wouldn't want to. Nope. I do elite retreats, and I'll take people to this like executive, beautiful, like I'm leaving for Italy in 6 weeks with this group of 20 entrepreneurs. And I put them in an environment. Like I go out of your environment, we're going away, and I just dive in and we twist and turn their businesses and get them all lined up for success. And 5 days later, they're like, okay, I can never go back to Ohio like the same person, right? Like, you know, like they're like, you ruined me for life. Thank you. Right? Like they're used to living this. So it's the same thing. Any little thing that you change and you see a result from, if you taste it and you feel who you actually become when you live your potential, you will never go back. And everyone who comes around you is going to be like, what did you do? Show me how to do that. Yep. And then you just monetize your value.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So full circle.
All my clients have this ripple effect of their families and their spouses and their ex-spouses and their kids and their coworkers and everyone around them who are like, I want what you have. I feel so inspired. And, you know, I can see that you're completely different and you're happy.
Yes. Right. And then those people who wondered what you were doing in the beginning are like, sign me up. I want to take that class. Yeah. Because truly everybody who's not living their potential is dying a little on the inside.
Yeah.
They're wondering what could change. What if? What if?
And that's that low level depression, you know, that is not clinical depression, and it's not, you know, like some of these more serious things. It's actually just a low level depression, which means that you're not in alignment with something inside. And usually that lack of alignment has to do with not living up to your potential.
Absolutely. Right. People, you know, the number one videos online, I believe, that are most viewed and watched, you know what the number one Googleable statement is? How can I find happiness? How can I be happy? And there's all these videos that talk about how to be happy, right? A lot of people title their videos, How to Be Happy. Actually, I should do that today because people want to know. But the truth is, you are the key. And only when you live in that potential element will you ever find it and keep it. And it's not happiness, it's joy. It's the difference between a feeling and, you know, like an emotion and a feeling, and what you're actually living as an action, as a verb, you know? Yeah. That's what we want. That's why we're here together. That's what we want for everybody who's watching this. Like, if I could leave them with one statement, it's like, there's more. There is more for you, and every single day you fulfill it and you live it. There's no greater joy in my life, or that my kids get to live. To see my 8-year-old twins teaching people how to fix their mindset and teaching their teachers. My youngest got in trouble at school for correcting the teacher because the teacher said, I can't. And Sophie said in front of everyone, she did it nicely, but she stepped up and she said, Miss Baker, how about we say, how can I?
That's awesome.
And it's just a transition in your words. It's just a teaching, but it's those habits we don't realize. It's time for us to become a whole group of people who are going to, you know, really give back and help set this world on a trajectory of success, personal success.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah. And let's all hop into that group of people who are up leveling everyone.
Yes.
And it's a choice. It's a decision.
It is. But, you know, like attracts like. Get around people who have the same mindset, just like we're doing. Like in 2 seconds, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love you. Keep talking. What else can I learn? How can I learn from you? But how can we collaborate and help other people be great? If you find your circle and find your tribe, it's not difficult. It can be online. It can be in person. It doesn't matter. But if you find those people who want to up level like you do, your whole life will change.
Absolutely. Because bottom line, anything's possible. Anything that you want, that you're willing to take action and work towards, it's all possible.
Yes. Yeah, watch out. You might just start a movement, you know?
Well, this video right here is going to be a catalyst for a lot of people. I can tell you that right now.
I can't wait. I hope so. I mean, seriously, that's why we're here. That's why we're collaborating. It's the key to wealth inside and out.
Yes.
Whatever you do, become the one your results require. That's all I'll tell you.
This is amazing. I love this conversation. Danelle, could you tell us a couple of inspirational stories about some of the people you've worked with, some of your clients?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll tell you a couple of favorites. One, I was working with a woman here. She actually met me in kind of a roundabout way, and I called her. She was a business owner here. She's a female electrician. Okay. Which is not very common around here, right? Female electricians, you know, she's a little, right? She was like, I was always out of my league. I had her come to one of my live events. Then she goes, I need to work with you personally. I need mentorship. I need help. Over the last year, okay, when she came to me, they were bringing in, she was making about $30,000 a month, and she was drowning. All her employees were quitting. She was hustling like she's a single mom. She was doing all this stuff. Over the last year of implementation, she followed the plan, 90 days, came to retreats, you know, dug in with her own foundation, with her own skill set, her sales, helping enroll her team in the vision. Over this last year, she's now bringing in between 90 and 100,000 a month. Her name's Michelle Rutt. She's amazing. And to see what that's done for her family, and to see it go beyond anything she's ever done. Now she's training other electricians and male electricians. She's the top electrician in Colorado. Literally, to see everything that's come into play, and her going out and teaching other electricians in abundance mentality, her competitors, how to go win. It's absolutely amazing. You know, there's so many people who are just hungry, like, show me the way, right? I've got a gal named Mandy out of Florida who's amazing. Mom as well. I think I have a heart for single moms just because, you know, current situation. And I like helping them to know, no, that is not your deficit. That is your asset. Let's go do it. Right. But she was a network marketer, and, you know, a lot of network marketers struggle. It's great for personal development, but the majority of them, you know, lose. That's part of it. You have to know a couple of things. And I built 3 of them really big, so I knew some details, but helped her get her foundation right, helped her build her influence. She's now built a massive business, like tripled her income and she's only been working with me for about 4 months. And she's like one of the top producers in her company now. And she's done it all from home, from online. That's, you know, that's what it's about. It's about building the life we don't need a vacation from.
Yes.
We live it.
Yes. The one that in our gratitude journal that we're keeping every day with those at least 10 things every day. We can be mentioning that quite a bit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's the greatest thing in the world is rising up other people who are of such great value and just want to serve people. They just want to help them. Because then we all win too, obviously. You know, but winning as a team is way more fun. Way more fun. My life is just so full. I can't even tell you.
Thank you so much. I am so honored to have you as a guest here. Is there anything that we haven't talked about, you know, that you want to leave our audience with today before we wrap up?
I mean, Marcy, thank you. Number one, I know how hard you work to find great people to impact people, and the work that you do is of utmost importance. I'm really grateful to be here and learn from you as well, because we all know my health took a back seat, and you're number one to work on those things. So, but thanks for what you're doing for people in the world. I truly think that, you know, I want everybody to learn to love the hard, right? If I look back, the things that I thought were hard were the necessary. They weren't hard. They were molding me, like refining me to be the one that could actually serve and help people, right? Some people are lost in the fire. Some are built from it. I want you to be built from it, whatever that takes. I mean, connect with me, Marcy, on Facebook, anything. Like, surround yourself with those like-minded people who will help you rise through the fires. There's nothing you can't overcome. And we're all here for a reason. And right now, if somebody's watching this who's just dying on the inside, I want you to know, like, I had that look in the mirror time when I was like, Danelle, you're in danger of never recovering. You got to do something different. And we're all one decision away from changing our life, right? For the good, for the bad, for the good or the bad. Like, you got to be careful, but choose it. Choose your best life. Like, it's not easy, but every single day, wake up and go, today, I'm the one my results require. Tomorrow, I'm going to be it too. That's it. One decision away, my friends.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. This is amazing.
Yes, I loved it. All day.
I know. Let's just keep going. We'll turn off the recording.
That's right. That's what we're going to do. Sorry, guys. We got to go, but we're going to keep this up.
So tell everyone where they can find you, and do you have something for them?
I do. Perfect. Yes. Okay. So first things first, if you want to go to DanelleDelgado.com, you can. I've got lots of free stuff there that you could just access, a webinar, those kinds of things. But my favorite thing to do for entrepreneurs, where I think you'll get the most value, is Friday Night Live. Every Friday night on Facebook, if you go facebook.com/Danelle Delgado, I show up for an hour for entrepreneurs every Friday night, where everybody else is out playing. I literally train social media, influence, building a following, loyalty, sales, everything you can imagine. And that's just my give back. I had people who poured into me. So I want to meet you on Friday nights. I do VIP day giveaways where I fly to you and help your business just for fun. So there's lots of fun things. But I also have a course that's massively being shared, all over the place. It's what got me speaking. It's what really helping people get results. But just because Marcy's amazing, I wanted to make sure and give you that first foundational module just to you guys. Like, I want you to have it. I want you to see it. I want you to understand that that's the beginning ground level force of anything that will help you create success. So I'm going to give that to you guys. DanelleDelgado.com/influencer. And that is just for you guys. So that's something special. I'm super grateful. I want you to build that foundation that's a rock, that no matter what comes your way, you're going to be one of those assets in the world that people must do business with, not the one that they could. That's
Yes. Love it. Oh, that is so generous. Thank you so much, Danelle.
Anything for you. Are you kidding me? I'm truly grateful for you. I love it.
Amazing stuff. So thank you for being here today, my dear. That was so inspiring. And I want to say thank you to everyone who showed up for the Cutting Edge Convention today. You're amazing. And you have so many possibilities. Maybe rewatch this a couple of times. Repetition is also really good for creating those neural pathways. So this is one of those presentations that, you want to have around as much as possible. And I'm going to wish everyone a happy, healthy day. Until next time, I'm your host, Marcy Peters. Bye for now.
Thank you for being part of the Cutting Edge Convention. We don't want you to miss a single valuable session. To have the entire event available to you at any time, purchase the package now before the event ends. That's when the price goes up. And watch your emails to get your next steps from Marcy.